All right. Hello, everybody. This is Conversations with Kenny Graves, and I'm at a great event tonight, and I've got a great guest to talk to. Let me see if I can run through this. All right, an actor of small and big screen. He's an advocate for all things environment. He's a supporter of dogs. He and his daughter go on these beach cleanup crusades, which is amazing. Uh, he's a girl dad. He's a dog lover. And he's making me feel bad about myself. He looks like $1,000,000, everybody. David Chokachi. David.
Yeah, you got my name right, and you got wow, that's impressive, brother. You got and a great. Yeah, you did your homework.
Well, this is off the cuff. There is no prep time.
I love it. Those are better.
I'm going to enjoy the conversation real quick. All right, David, coming out of school, you had college, political science degree.
Yep.
You actually worked for, was it a congressman in
I
1990?
did. Yeah, congressman down in D.C. He was chairman of I was thinking about going into like environmental studies. And he was chairman of a subcommittee on wildlife and fisheries. So I thought it would be like a good experience. But it turned out I was, I don't know if you remember in Cheers how like I was like the Sam Malone of the office. Like basically like softball is a huge thing. So they'd be like, I think it was every Thursday at like 2:00, you got to reserve a field for your congressman's office. And they'd be like, hey, David, can you go get the field? I'm like, yeah, but it's like 1:30 or 2. Like, no, but it's really important. Go do it. And that was my deal. Like, I just did and because I was a really good softball player too. And it was a good experience. I got to do a little bit of everything. I had no desire to be in that political world, but I got to see a lot of it up for like real personal and learned a lot. But yeah, it was not my vibe, definitely.
But you've got the $1,000,000 hair like Sam Malone, good at softball. So you were like, we're going to start calling him, for your publicist's sake, our friend Barry that's here, we'll start calling him David Mayday Chokachi, like Sam Mayday Malone.
That's right, man.
Now, how did you go from 1990 working there, and suddenly 5 years later, you're cast in one of the most popular shows of a generation in Baywatch?
Yeah, it was. Let's see. It was like an interesting journey. I had gone on a program in college. I won't keep this too long, but called Semester at Sea, where we went around the world on a boat and focused on third world countries. And after that, when I came back, I played football at Bates College all 4 years, and I played lacrosse. But then I took 1 year off, the spring of my junior year off lacrosse, and went on this trip. And so when we left from the Bahamas, we go to Spain, we went to Yugoslavia and Russia. And when you get to these places, you would either fly, like we flew up from Odessa to Moscow, but all the way through we got off in the Suez Canal, we climbed the pyramids, went to India, Malaysia, China, and then you fly home from Taiwan. And I came back from that trip and I was like, I cannot do a normal job ever. Like I was elated at what I had seen and done, but I was also like scared to like and all my buddies from college, as soon as they graduated, we actually did a cross-country road trip in an RV for like 4 months, and then they all got jobs like a job that would kill me in like no time, like sell insurance or medical sales. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'd rather, I'm also a carpenter. I was like, I'd rather be a carpenter the rest of my life than what you guys are doing. But I just, I was always, when I was growing up, we used to make movies. Like we were in Miami Vice, we make these home movies, and it was a passion. And I loved film. But I'm from Plymouth, Massachusetts. No one's made it out. No one's escaped. It's like Escape from Alcatraz.
That was supposed to be part of my intro. That's right, the pride of Plymouth, Massachusetts.
So I was after college, and after I worked with that congressman, and I was working for my brother-in-law's company. Just construction, which I'm grateful for because I still do carpentry to this day, and I've learned that trade. But there was an ad for athletic models in Boston, and so I went, and it just kind of kept. Like next thing you know, I did a campaign for Reebok, then I got a commercial for like a national commercial for Miller Lite really quickly, and then I just started studying a little bit at this place in Cambridge, outside of Boston, and I was always wanted to like live in LA for a little part of my life. I'd been there before for a lacrosse tournament, and I was like, the only chance I'm gonna really have to like test this is like if I go and live there and do it. And so I convinced my parents, and they're like, "What? You're what?" And I went out there. I mean, I got there literally on a Saturday afternoon, and on Monday morning at 3 a.m. was the Northridge earthquake. So it shut the entire city was like shut down. A friend of mine worked for FEMA, and I inspected chimneys for about 6 months, making some money, and then I was studying once the city got back up. I had already had a commercial agent. This one agency was modeling commercials, and she had a small theatrical, and she got me the audition for Baywatch, and I went in. I happened to be the guy they were looking for. Like, I could swim, I could drive boats, I had taught sailing, and they just like they looked at 1,000 guys, they couldn't find the guy, and they were so beat down, these casting directors. And I walk in, they're like, you're the guy. You're the guy she's looking for. Please tell us you can act, And then like 5 auditions and a swim test later, I got it.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back. I got to cut off the beaten path.
Go.
You mentioned you worked learning the carpenter trade.
Yeah.
Some years back, for a fundraiser, you made a very large but small version of the Hollywood Red School.
Yeah. How'd you find that, man?
That's what I do,
Oh
brother.
my God.
But
no one's ever brought that
how
up.
big was that thing? If it was sitting there on this table,
I mean, it was like a dollhouse like this, but I mean, it was a perfect replica, because when you pass the schoolhouse, like on Highland, it's this red schoolhouse from the 1920s. This woman started, and I mean, it was like very detailed work, which is mind-boggling slow, and like routers and tiny I had so many redos on that thing, but I just spent months on it, and it became like an icon. I donated. It was a auction for the school to raise money. Someone bought it. Actually, we bought it back because someone was going to buy it, and then we actually bought it so we could donate it back to the school. And so it sat in there like kind of lobby. It was like a perfect replica of that. Yeah, man, that thing was painstaking. Man. Be out there for hours. I get with the carpentry. I've just renovated our garage in Malibu, and I'm out there at 10 at night. I get kind of like very focused. Like I have to get it done, and
hyper focused,
and I have to do it right. Like even though like if it's behind a washing machine, if there's something's wrong, there's a crack, I have to fix it with joint compound and paint it right. Like no one's gonna see it, but I know,
You can't go to sleep that night.
No, it's gotta be right. My family's like, when are you gonna be done? And it's 10 o'clock at night. Come on.
All right. Like I mentioned in the onset, you got a beautiful daughter. You're a great girl dad.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit here.
Yes, she is now 13 years old, and she's basically kind of a mini version of me. People are. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but she looks a lot like me. She's just she's beautiful, really athletic. I started her surfing when she was 3 years old. At this beach, I put a life jacket on her, put on the front of my board, and ever since she's had that feeling of riding waves. And she's in the junior lifeguard program at Zuma Beach, which is amazing. You stay in the program, and if you pass the test when you're 16, you can become a state lifeguard, and then at 18 you can become a county lifeguard. And these kids can make a lot of money. So I'm like, this is one thing you're going to stick to and you're going to do. This is I don't demand a lot of her, but I think it's one of them, because kids don't work nowadays. It's it's a different world. I'm like, I worked from as soon as I was tall enough to push a lawnmower. My parents were like, you're working, you're mowing lawns. And then from that moment on, I always had a job, whatever, summer times or, and even when I moved to LA, I knew right away. I was like, I got to find a way to make money. And I'm moving into this dingy apartment in Brentwood. And Brentwood's a beautiful little town, but on the edge was these apartments. And there was a guy renovating. And I was like, hey, man, if you ever need someone to swing a hammer, I'm really good at it. He's like, yeah, whatever. And next morning, like 7 a.m., he knocks on my door. He's like, you want to go to work? I was like, yep. He's like, come on. And I worked for him. Even when I got Baywatch, I didn't bail on him. I worked with him right up until we started shooting because he was just super cool. He would let me audition during the day. I'd like just rinse off like outside of the casting place, like clean up and like covered in all kinds of different building materials, and then go audition, then go back to work, and and then study at night. And I was committed. Yeah.
Well, for a guy that's done so much in his life, for the folks watching, how much of that do you attribute to having that work ethic?
I, Pretty much all of it. I mean, because a lot of it is luck and timing, but you have the majority is preparation too. Like, you have to have skills to back up whatever you're doing. Like if you get the audition and it's the audition of your chance of your career, it's like everything's on the line, but you haven't been studying or working with your coach, and it comes in and you go in, you blow it. It's like you missed it. It's like the moment is there and you got to be ready to meet the moment. But my parents were always like we worked. My dad's way of relating to my brother and I was like, my buddies would be going to the beach on weekends. He's like, when we lived on like I don't know, 3/4 of an acre of land, but he's like, you're going to be working. You guys have work to do this weekend. We're like, okay, can you give us a list? We'll knock it out. And he's like, no, you start with this, and then would work until like 4 o'clock, and our buddies would be like, gone doing their own thing. And my mom was the same way, just like and it wasn't like slave labor, but what it did teach us was like I can outwork almost anyone. Like, and to this day, like I can grind so hard. People are like, Jesus. That's why the Wings of Rescue thing came up. He during the Palisades fires. I've been an ambassador for Best Friends Animal Society for 25 years. And they're one of the bear shelter rescue groups. And they said, hey, would you be willing to come out and load dogs onto a plane? Because they knew there'd be the shelters are already overcrowded. So they knew there'd be a huge number of incoming. And I said, yes, I want to do something positive. Like it felt like our lives were falling apart around us. And so when I get there, we unload all the dog crates. And then the president of the company, who's like 70, he's like, I need one per volunteer to come inside and like help push, drag, and stack. And I'm like, I'm the guy, dude. And I went in and I just put my head down and I just listened and stacked. And when I left, he went up to the Best Friends people and he was like, who was that guy? He's like, I've never had a volunteer work so hard in the 12 years I've been acting president CEO of Wings of Rescue, or also was like, he's like, I saw him talking to the dogs. He's compassionate. Like, and so like the work, and then I did like six or seven more flights just loading. And then he called me and said, would you be willing to be a flight crew member? Kind of like a standby flight crew member. And I was like, yes. So I've been flying with them since February. And I got recently, they moved me up to flight crew leader, which is cool. Yeah, so I've been all over the place, down to the Caribbean, and it's amazing.
I've seen you've had a lot of travels over the years.
Yeah.
A favorite spot you've been to that you'd like to go back to?
We used to go fishing. My dad was a big fly fisherman. That was the one thing we did do. Up on Kodiak, Alaska. And Kodiak, there's a river called the Karluk River, which is, you can only access it by boat or plane. And it's super remote, really heavy bear country, but it's where the river meets the ocean. So it's incredible, like king salmon and just incredible fly fishing in general. So we haven't been in years. That's one of my favorites. I got a chance to go whitewater rafting on the Futalofu River in Chile. That was insane. Like, I don't know. I've been lucky. I've seen some amazing things. Those kind of like places where you're in. I'm a huge nature guy, and anytime you're in nature, and especially if you go to Alaska, say in June near the solstice, we'd be out fishing at 11 at night. It's still light out. Like you can go out fishing after dinner, and people are just like, it's amazing. You just keep going.
By the time you wrap up and get done and put everything up, it's almost breakfast.
Yes. Oh yeah. You're like, okay, it's time to get going again. Let's go.
Okay. Trying to find a way to tell a great story without taking all your time. You've got a great resume on film, but you've got three projects, movies that have come out this year. Any highlights you want to share?
Yeah, I swear, I don't know what's I've worked more in the last 15 months, like steadily, than I have in, I've probably done, I just wrapped a movie on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. I think it's probably like my 10th film in 15 months. And they I got them all like through hustling myself, like
Yes.
either former relationships, my agent manager, sorry, but yes, they didn't get them. I got them. And, it's like, it's just by staying in touch and doing good work and showing up on set with a good attitude, no matter what it is. I come in and I give it my all. A lot of, like, some people just don't. Like, I'm like, I don't care if I'm gonna be in front of the camera, I'm giving you 1,000%.
Well, let's see here. You had upcoming projects. It shows 7 on IMDb. Several of those are post production, so
Yeah.
they'll be coming soon. But so far this year, you had Vanished,
Yeah.
the most recent, and President Down,
Yep.
and Black Panther of World War II.
Yeah. Those are all out right now. Yeah.
You doing a little action? It sounds
A
like.
bunch of everything. And then another one called Married Alive, which is
Yes.
a really good one.
And then there's sequels going to be coming out for that one.
Yeah, hopefully. That's what he's saying. We'll see. Like, that was a fantastic script and a fantastic character, really dynamic, I had to go to a lot of different places. This guy had an incredible backstory, and but I loved it. It was like the right everything synced up. It was one of those movies that everybody was in it, and we're shooting. We had rain machines, and we had a fight scene. It was like, and we knew we were going to be ending with rain machines and on night shoots. So they were like, you're going to want to have layers. So by the time we end up at this, and I'm not giving much away. You see in the trailer, I'm taking my son up to our cabin before he gets married, and we're both firefighters, and we're not screwing around, but we're just kind of like playing driving. But it had rained, and the Jeep starts slipping, and I jump out, try and cable it with chain, and nothing happens fast enough. And he goes over, he gets pinned, his legs are crushed, and I can't move it, and the cell phone doesn't work. So I'm going to my cabin to get. We have a landline there. But yeah, so I have like fleece, like layer on top of layer, like you're going skiing basically, because we knew where we were going to end up at the end of the shoot. And and then by the time I'm in that cabin, there's a stranger in my cabin when I get there, and we have this intense fight scene that was full savagery. But when we shot that, I think it must have been 110 degrees outside, and we're inside a cabin. So I was like, by the time we were done, no stunt doubles. 6 hours later, I was like,
Spent.
oh my God, dude. Luckily, Bruce Reisman, the director, his doctor was on set. He's like, dude, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, I just pounded a bunch of liquid IV, and that was all right. But yeah, and then I just finished another one called Body Men with Sean Kanan, and his wife Michelle wrote and directed. They both kind of wrote. This woman, Kate Monroe, based on her kind of life story, which was super fun. I played this kind of CIA guy who speaks like 8 languages, but he can float in and out of he can navigate the political world, but he's not in it. But he's also a killer. So and then I just brought a lot to that. Like I just found ways like to add to the character, and there were some like beats or things I added like comedic wise, just that people were like, yes. The crew was like, even like, oh my God, dude, it just added, I just feel like it's a weird, I'm 57 years old. I've been working actor for 30 years, and I feel like I'm doing the best work of my life right now.
Is there a certain genre that you feel like you'd like to revisit? Maybe comedy is something that you feel like at your age, you really feel like you're confident in your skills?
It's like I did something this summer. It's called what's it called? Water Park Shark. We're lifeguards at a water park. Yeah. And we turned it into it's going to be scary, but it's also very comedic. But it's not like sitcom comedy. It's more like the character I play was this guy called Coach. But that kind of comedy I like. I'm not I to this day I haven't done a Western, and I'm dying to, and I'm like,
you ride regular.
I'm in the right state for that, right?
And you do ride.
I ride, I shoot guns, I can like proficiently, and I have yet to find like
look pretty comfortable in a hat.
Yep. So that's one genre I'd actually love to do if there's but I love doing it all. Witchblade, I don't know if you ever saw that. That was a great show.
Wasn't it a series as
It was
well?
a series, yeah. It should have gone longer, but there were some issues. Probably would have gone 8 years, and it was so well written, and my character kept evolving, and God, the writing was like, as an actor, when you have material that's really well written, you can look at it, like you read it like 3 times the scene, and you know it. Like all of a sudden, it's just you don't have to sit there and like memorize it or work on it. Like it's so organic. But when the writing's bad if it just won't sink in, and you'll be like, and that happens all the time too, where I'm like, I cannot get this down. Like, what is going? And it's just the writing, So, anytime you get involved like there where there's really great writing, it makes such a huge difference. So, it's having all those things come together. I would love to be at a point where you're working with incredible writers, incredible directors, DPs, and then other actors who are, committed and all going for the same thing.
Taylor Sheridan, if you're watching.
Yeah, I know Taylor. He was
Nobody does a good Western these days like Taylor Sheridan. We got your guy.
Yeah, he was my acting coach for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Before, I'm not kidding. After he got off Sons of Anarchy, and then it was so funny. Our kids, we had to live in New York City for a little bit. Then I came back, and his son and my daughter were in this little soccer league when they were really young. And I hadn't seen him in a while, and I had talked to him, and he was like ready. He was kind of ready to like leave the whole business. He's like, I don't know, dude. I just wrote this thing called Sicario. I'm gonna go shoot it. I don't know if it's gonna be any good, but if that doesn't work, I'm done. I'm just gonna go ride horses and do my thing. And but Sicario was like through the roof. It's like one of my favorite movies to this day. And then I've hit him up before. I'm like, why haven't you put me in something? He's like, dude, I can't. You're too good looking. What am I gonna put you in? I'm like, I'm looking at like some other guys on his shows. I'm like, come on, bro. I've seen this. Yeah, I can grow a beard. I can get dirty. I can shoot guns. I can run and fight. So
you can definitely do the fight scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. And you support so many great causes, too many to list. But where can folks go to find out what all you're involved with? You share a lot of that on your social media.
Yeah. Actually, I just redid my website. Okay. It's davidchokachi.com. And I don't spread myself too thin. Surfrider Foundation is one. I've been kind of an ambassador for them for a long time because it's an organization where you can go do these beach cleanups instead of, I like the groups where you can actually get your hands on, writing checks. And, I taught my daughter, from a very young age, like before we go surf or go do anything at the beach, as soon as we get to the beach, we have to pick up 3 pieces of trash. And like to this day, she does it. She doesn't really run it back to me like she used to when she was little, but it's like, when I surf, even in Malibu, the amount of stuff in the water is horrible. And but what people don't understand is they see it and they think it's, well, what's one more piece of trash? So they either throw it out the window or they won't pick it up. I'm like, but you can't. You've got to be that one person who just is like, if you remove one piece, you're making a difference.
Yeah, apathy will make it worse.
Yes.
If people start doing something simple like that, pick up 3 pieces of trash.
Yeah, every day, like wherever you are. I always and the thing is, like, people don't want to be lectured. I've learned, I've lost like social media followers because of like all the dog stuff I post. I was like, and I asked this woman she's like, it's because of all the dog, the realities of what I'm sharing. It's a brutal reality of how many dogs are being euthanized every day unfairly. And people don't want to hear it. And I'm like, what is wrong with the world that you don't want to know what's really happening? I'm sitting there, this is firsthand, and I'm flying dogs that if Wings of Rescue and partnered with these other shelters, the dog that's in my lap that I'm sitting on the bottom of the plane with as we fly, I'll take him out and videotape him. So helps get him adopted. There's 2 little pit mix puppies, and they were going to be euthanized in 3 days. And it just, but I share so much of it that she's like, that's why you're losing followers. I'm like, well, I don't even care if I'm down to one person that's still following me. I'm sharing about the dogs.
They may share it.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
and a lot, so I've learned, like, even when it comes to fitness and life, I just lead by example now, because if you lecture people too much or preach to them, they get really turned off. And I try and just stay in my lane, and I lead by example. And people are like, "Damn, dude, you're 57. You look like you do. How do you do that?" Like, I'm just like, well, this is what I get up 4 a.m. every day, and I go all day, and I do a whole routine of things, and just by hardcore discipline, work ethic. And I had a bad injury that the surgeon screwed up, which I had to have a second surgery on my Achilles. But through this weird period of suffering, I came out the other side and found like a higher gear. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know if you've heard the saying, but we all have a version of us within ourselves that's a higher operating system. Like basically, that's how they describe it a lot. And I found that version after I went through this period of suffering, and I became I feel like I have a mini superpower. Like my act, all in front of the camera, I got better. Like performance wise, everything got better. It was weird after a 3-year period of like isolation, not being able to do anything I loved, and like feeling like almost like I felt like my life was over. It was brutal, So, but people talk about that a lot. Through suffering, you can gain this. If you can hang in there, there's the growth that comes out on the other side is like almost infinite. It's like you feel like I feel like sometimes like Neo, what's his name in the Matrix? Was it like I swear I feel like I'm so plugged in, and I like even my wife's like, it's 4 a.m. You went to bed at midnight. What are you doing? And I was like, because getting up early for me is like a win. It's like a subconscious, like I know nobody else is up really, unless they're like truck drivers. And like when you do these little wins, this Navy SEAL called this, he did this program.
Making your bed every
Like what's the general says. But this Navy SEAL came back, and he was depressed, and he created a thing called stacking micro wins. And one micro win is getting up really early, so it's like the easiest one you can do. So I do all those things. I keep doing them, and I keep growing.
They're already calling your name. He's got a ton of great stuff on his IMDb.
Yeah, it's awesome. You need your own on-camera show, man. Your late night show.
He's got new material out this year. He's got upcoming projects. We're trying to get him into a Western. He loves dogs. He works to help animals. He works to help the environment and clean water. He's a girl dad. He's good looking. He has gray hair. Why am I talking to you? David Chokachi.
What a pleasure, man. You're fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck, man.
This has been Conversations with Kenny Graves. Okay.